happen, man. This is real life that we're talking about. We're not talking about dingleberries and applesauce. It's real life.
And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way.
Do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually. But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Honey, just when we thought the Diddy drama couldn't possibly get any wilder, bam, 50 Cent and Terrence Howard show up like it's a VIP roast with front row seats and a basket of bombshells. And oh baby, they weren't just dropping hints, they brought full-blown receipts. I'm talking about the kind of receipts that make Hollywood elites sweat in their silk suits. Now let's get this straight. Terrence didn't just sprinkle a little shade on his podcast appearance. No, darling. He unleashed a Category 5 storm. Allegations of being propositioned, mysterious acting invites, and whisper warnings from assistants that sounded like they came from a thriller movie script. And let's not even get started on 50 Cent, who's back to his full-time gig of setting the internet on fire with documentaries and timelines that make you gasp. 50 literally said he saved Terrence from being puffified. Yes, he said that, and now he's out here acting like the guardian angel of Hollywood's lost souls. These aren't whispers anymore, baby. These are accusations with names, receipts, and vibes so off, even the paparazzi are backing away slowly. If Terrence really teams up with 50's upcoming Netflix documentary, we might be looking at the most explosive hip-hop expose of all time.
I'm always right. It's like when I'm right, I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I could have been right. So I'm still right because I could have been wrong.
Let's rewind to the interview that left jaws on the floor. Terrence Howard, the seasoned Hollywood veteran, strutted into the PBD podcast and gave us the tea of the century. No scripts, no filters, just raw truth and a burning need to get it all off his chest. Terrence started off strong, basically saying, "Don't mess with my integrity," and honey, he meant it. "I've lost jobs because I refuse to wear a dress," he said. And he wasn't joking. He explained how he kept getting roles that required him to compromise to fit Hollywood's mold of what a black man should be. "I'm not going to bend over for anyone in this town," he declared. And yes, sweetie, he meant that both ways. Figuratively and literally. That line alone could have made headlines, but Terrence, he was just getting warmed up. Then came the twist no one saw coming. He dropped Diddy's name like a bomb. Apparently, Diddy's acting coach reached out to Terrence with what sounded like a very legit offer. Some character development thing, right? Professional, harmless, at first. But then, Terrence gets invited to a new kind of meeting. Not at a studio, not at an office. Oh no, he walked into something way sketchier. One of Diddy's assistants even pulled him aside and whispered, "I think he's trying to play you." Excuse me, what?
For weeks asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. "He wants to hang out with you next week," and I was like, "For what?" He's like, "I think he's trying to f*** you."
That's when the red flag started dancing in front of Terrence's face. He realized, submission, if you keep your head down and do what they want, you get the fame, the money, the roles. But if you stand up, if you say no, you're out. And now, suddenly, all of this fits perfectly into the swirling vortex of lawsuits and scandals circling Diddy. Terrence's story doesn't just sound like a warning, it sounds like a missing puzzle piece. Let's not forget, Terrence has been calling Hollywood out for years. He's turned down roles, he's walked away from paychecks, but this is the first time he's dropped names. And honey, the name he dropped was Diddy. It gets juicier, because guess who else is linking arms with Terrence now? 50 Cent. And you already know he's not showing up empty-handed.
Do all those things. When you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it.
Now, baby, let's really sit the tea on these infamous Diddy parties, the ones everyone whispers about in green rooms and behind closed doors. You've seen the memes, you've heard the rumors. But Terrence, he took those whispers and shouted them from the podcast rooftops. According to him, those guests didn't just leave with hangovers. They left with something much worse, the feeling they'd been stripped of their manhood. And no, he wasn't being metaphorical. Terrence flat out said some of those high-profile men walked in with confidence and walked out like they'd just witnessed or done something so disturbing it haunted them. And then he nodded when Justin Bieber's name came up. Nodded! He didn't even deny it. Suddenly, fans were racing through old interviews, red carpet photos, music videos, hunting for signs like digital detectives. And let's be real, Terrence didn't sound like a man with conspiracy theories. He sounded like someone who's seen it, lived it.
That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
None other than 50 Cent. 50 has had beef with Diddy for what feels like decades. And when Terrence started speaking out, 50 was ready. He reposted the podcast clip with a caption that screamed, "I told y'all," and claimed he even warned Terrence to stay far, far away from Diddy's freaky world. "I told him leave that man alone," 50 wrote. And when it comes to Diddy's wild parties, 50 swears he never touched them. "I'm not into that freaky stuff," he said in an interview. "I never went to those parties, ever."
And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now. And then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy. I mean,
but I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
I'm just not with all that freaky shit. Like all of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just.
And you know what? No one doubts that. Because if there's one thing 50 Cent is known for, it's speaking his mind without sugarcoating a damn thing. He's been dropping hints about Diddy's vibe for years. Remember that weird moment in an old interview when Diddy asked Fabulous why they don't party together? Fab looked like he wanted to vanish into the floor. At the time, people laughed it off. "Oh, that's just Diddy being Diddy," they said. This man gave Hollywood his talent, his energy, his time. And what did he get? Scraps. But you know what Terrence got that they didn't expect? A backbone. He started calling out not just the paychecks, but the way the industry tries to strip you down, especially if you're a black man. He told stories of being offered roles that required him to wear dresses or act out stereotypes that made him feel less than. And every time he said no, they took a little more away. "They wanted me to bend over, but I wasn't going to do that," he said, loud and clear, and it cost him. Big time. But now, Terrence is fighting back. He revealed that he's planning to sue Paramount for unpaid royalties and residuals. "They owe me everything they didn't pay me," he told Patrick Bet-David. And honestly, we are rooting for him. Because this isn't just about one actor. This is about a whole system built on exploitation and silence. It's about how black actors are underpaid, undervalued, and overworked, and told to smile and be grateful. But Terrence? He's not playing that game anymore. And neither is 50. Now, let's spill the tea on the biggest elephant in the room. Hollywood's alleged feminization agenda. The thing Terrence said out loud that had a lot of men in the industry shaking. He said Hollywood has a mission to strip black actors of their masculinity, to force them into roles that redefine what it means to be a man, to rewrite their identities. And he wasn't shy about saying it. He made it crystal clear that in order to get the big roles, masculinity had to be traded in like a costume. "You'll get the scraps if you don't fit the mold," he said. And it's not just Terrence saying it. Taraji P. Henson has been on this same soapbox, calling out the gross underpayment and double standards black talent faces in Hollywood. They want the performance, they want the talent. But they don't want to pay the price of treating these actors with the dignity they deserve. And when you refuse, you're labeled difficult, problematic, you get blacklisted. Terrence has been fighting this for years. He's refused roles that tried to reduce him to a joke or a stereotype. He stayed true to himself, even when it meant losing jobs. And that's why he says he hasn't gotten the recognition he deserves, because he wouldn't bend. And that scares Hollywood more than anything. So now, with lawsuits looming, names being named, and 50 Cent gearing up to unleash hell with his Netflix doc, the big question is, who else was there? Who else walked into those infamous puppy parties and walked out a shell of themselves? Who said yes? Because Terrence made it clear, some of these men didn't just lose their dignity for a moment, they lost it forever. He said they can't forget what they saw, what they did. That emotional trauma, it sticks. And it's why so many are staying silent. But silence speaks volumes. For you, .tinformation/money. The result, Russian Diplo Delitoy calls for this Curie to come to Gaza. After peopling up at the city's Courty of Pictionary, should I say that already involved? So now that the internet is on fire, fans are watching, the industry is squirming, and Terran is most know to what has become what. The next episode's already brewing, so who's sweating and who's next? So now that the internet is on fire and every celebrity group chat is probably in lockdown mode, the final piece of the puzzle is this. Who else is hiding behind the velvet rope? We've heard the whispers, we've seen the clues, but now that Terrence Howard and 50 Cent are practically screaming from the rooftops, the question becomes too loud to ignore. Who else gave up their pride for power? Because let's be real, there were more guests at those parties. Terrence said it plainly. A lot of these men walked into those rooms thinking they were invincible and left looking like broken versions of themselves. You could see it in their eyes, he said. You can see it in some of these guys, Terrence told the host when Justin Bieber's name was mentioned. And the way he said it wasn't shade. It was painfully honest. Recognition, the kind of knowing that comes from surviving something you didn't even realize was dangerous until it was too late. He didn't call out names, but baby, the silence, the hesitation, the nods, that said everything, and now fans are watching every video, every performance, every red carpet interview like it's a true crime documentary, zooming in on eye twitches, analyzing old sound bites, asking who else was there, who said yes to get ahead and lost themselves in the process. Because as Terrence revealed, it's not just about the act, it's about the aftermath, the emotional weight, the psychological toll. These men didn't just sell out a night of their lives. They gave away a piece of their identity, and some of them, they've never gotten it back. Terrence painted a haunting picture. One stays with you. He said a lot of them are still stuck there, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, haunted by what they did, what they saw, what they couldn't unfeel. And here's the part that hits hardest. These aren't just young, naive actors. These are the A-listers, the award winners, the icons. And now they're living with secrets they'll probably never say out loud. Why? Because to speak is to unravel everything. Their careers, their families, their sanity. 50 Cent said it best, they participated. And that participation, it bought them silence, not loyalty, fear. And fear is what's running the show in Hollywood right now. Because Terrence just pulled the curtain halfway open and already the foundation is shaking. So what happens if 50 pulls it all the way back? What happens when that Netflix documentary drops? Are we finally gonna hear the names, see the footage, get the confirmation we've all been whispering about? Or will the silence win? Because let's not forget, this industry is built on hush money, NDAs, image control. But now the cracks are showing, the leaks are spilling, and 50's ready to turn the faucet wide open. And while all this is happening, Terrence isn't just fighting for justice in Hollywood's dark party world, oh no. He's swinging back legally too. He's officially planning to sue Paramount, not for just a missing paycheck here or there, but for residuals, royalties, and years of exploitation. They made millions, he got a few thousand. They used his voice, his image, his art, and gave him nothing in return. Well, guess what? Now he wants everything they owe him. And who can blame him? He's not just fighting for himself, he's fighting for every actor of color who's been undervalued, underpaid, and over-silenced. He's not just taking on a company. He's taking on an entire system, a system that forces actors to compromise their manhood, trade their morals, shrink themselves into boxes, and smile while doing it. Terrence isn't smiling anymore. He's exposing, he's warning, he's daring others to speak up. And behind him, you've got 50 Cent revving up the documentary engine, preparing to beam this nightmare into households around the world. So now the industry has a choice. Keep hiding or come clean. Because the way things are going, the silence might not be able to protect them anymore. Especially when Terrence Howard just put Hollywood's dirtiest little secret under the brightest spotlight it's ever seen. And 50 Cent, he's just waiting to hit play. So now we ask you, what's the real price of fame? How many careers were built on secrets? And when the truth finally drops on Netflix, will Hollywood ever be the same again? Thanks for staying with us, tea lovers. Be sure to watch those next videos. They might just have more secrets than a Diddy party guest list. And remember, stay nosy, stay loud, and never, ever trust a music meeting.